Howdy, my friends. I wanted to talk to you about this Berserk Volume 12 that I just finished reading here. Berserk Deluxe Edition Volume 12, which contains 3 of the regular tankobon sized volumes all in one. And it's oversized so we can absorb all the beautiful, brutal, ugly artwork. And let's just take a look at all the artwork here right at the beginning. We got some fold-out posters, which are real cool looking. So that's pretty dope. They're all double-sided. This is pretty great. She's a new character that we meet on this volume here. And she's pretty cool. And that's her right there again. And then on the other side, we get these pirate fellows you might remember from a previous volume. Now, this is my first video I'm doing on this because I just started making videos a little while back, but I've been reading through this series for a while. So I should go back and use that as an excuse to reread the series and maybe make some videos, an excuse to spend time going through all the artwork and showing it to you. But there's some incredible artwork throughout this, and I love this series so much. There's some ugly, nasty, brutal stuff in it, but it's totally worth it to power through all the uncomfortable stuff to get to the good stuff, because the story is so engaging and the artwork is so rich. Like the details of all this, so spooky. I love it. So this volume starts out with this giant eldritch horror of a monster here was the demon lord of the Kushan Empire, who went through some crazy ritual and reincarnated himself as this monstrous god. And he's kind of losing his sense of self and ego as he destroys his army as well as the opposing army. And the opposing army is being led by Griffith, who himself is one of the 5 demon lords of the underworld, the God Hand, who are kind of abstract. We don't know much about them except that they work for and are a agent of a higher power that is from a level beyond our understanding. So I don't know. Think of it as like the Holy Trinity in Christianity, only it's 5 individuals instead of 3, and they're all sort of evil, or they use evil to enact their plans. And each one seems to be an embodiment of a different sort of evil aspect of humanity. And Griffith was the last of the 5, who himself was mortal and then reborn as this demon, Femto. And it's all just a giant dark fairy tale to warp reality and make him the hero. See, this is so brutal. All these giant monstrous creatures are rising out of the blood of all the people that this dark god steps on. And they create little tiny demon forms of him. It's so sick. I love it. Look at that, just eating him and tearing him apart. It's like the sickest, darkest death metal cover art you've seen. You know, I love it. This dark specter just flailing, and like the cities and the armies, they're just specks. It's so cool. But yeah, this first half of this book is all about Griffith and his army fighting this other demon army. So it's pretty much 2 armies of demon soldiers going at it with each other, and it makes for some of the most brutal, sick art pieces you've seen. And this right here, where Griffith releases the demons, is so cool. And it's such a great double page spread, because yeah, you're not getting all that horrific stuff, but this bright, beautiful page with that glowing face and him just shouting demonic release. And then we see all the demon soldiers that were fighting with the human soldiers and their army. They start to mutate into their demon forms. And the soldiers are realizing, wait, the demon army, that's not just a name for these brutal sons of bitches. They're turning into full-on demons. Like the sorts of things that come out of the shadows and haunt humanity. Oh, this scene right here, too, is so brutal where we see Nosferatu Zod just tearing into these things. I've grown to really like him in Skull Knight quite a bit. The way, like, the ferocity this guy has reminds me of, like, you ever seen a video of grizzly bears fighting each other? That's the kind of strength and intensity I imagine that dude having. But, like, look at this page here. This artwork is so sick. Like, look at this thing. And it's coming out, and its body is this monstrous creature. And it's being eaten by this creature down here. And, like, yeah, the whole thing is just so gross looking. I love it. That guy coming out of that, right, oh, it's just friggin' nightmare, I tell you. This really cool beetle demon. Yeah, like, just such sick, disgusting, awesome, brutal stuff. It's so cool. This dragon, this crystal dragon, I love it so much. This is badass. This next page, too, is a cool double page. Yep, is this dope double page spread with all these giant monsters. And I love this weird whale creature with that head coming out of its lower chin there. The second half of this book I thought was less interesting because it kind of follows Guts and his team as what's going on in the same time as all this, but they're in a completely different place. And that's just less interesting to me because we've been following this story for so long. You want to know what happens, the politics of it, and what it's all building to. I love this page right here where Nosferatu Zod's just flying through all these creatures like a bullet and them just exploding. And this is really cool too, where the soldiers are backing Griffith here, the beautiful shining knight, and before them is just all this horrific carnage of demons. And you have our demons fighting their demons, but it's all just a giant mass of blood and guts and teeth and death. I love this guy just eating him with his top head and his bottom head just being torn apart. And these poor fellas, what's going on in their head? And I love this right here where all the people are starting to realize that the war demons are actual real demons. Like, they're in the thick of this, they're in the middle, and it is just gross and nasty. And wait, if Griffith is leading all these demons, if he's the one, like, the people are starting to realize just what a snake in the grass this fella is, because it don't matter how beautiful he is, he's still leading these demons. But then you get this dumb psychic bitch giving everyone a big old mental jolt because she's reading their minds. And she tells them, no, it doesn't matter that they're demons because those demons fight under the banner of the Hawk and they fight under the banner of the Hawk. They're all the band of the Hawk. So it doesn't matter that they're demons. They fight together. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. And I guess it does in their place because after all, what are they going to do? Fight all the demons? They probably should. But they don't have a chance in hell if that's what they're going to do, honestly. So, you know, they fight with the demons, you know. And this dumb broad, she just ends up hanging out with this fella the whole rest of the battle. Man, I tell you, this Sonya girl, I hate her so much. She is just the worst. That's not true. He is the worst. You love to hate that guy. Like, you love him and you hate him and you love to hate him. But it's like they write in the story here. He has a magnetic energy to him that you can't help but be drawn to him. Even the Demon King flies away because he's so afraid of his aura. Because he knows that if he spends time with Griffith, he will love Griffith too. Because it's his nature. You can't not love the guy. I love how all these guys, they're actually able to hold the giant beast back with their lances, though. It's pretty dope. Great fight. So cool. I haven't even gotten to the coolest part of it. And I've been yammering on for a while, so I should probably flip some pages. But I just want to show off the artwork and, let you soak it all in. It's so cool. This series really hooked me. Man, I got to go back and read and review the whole series just so I have an excuse to go back. It's just so good. Look at this page. Look at there's so much going on. Like I say, it's gorgeous. It's ugly, it's nasty, but it's beautiful. And this is so terrible too. Here we have the literal Pope of this world, and he's just enamored by the Antichrist, essentially. It's not a good situation. It's not a good situation at all, but man. This guy comes storming in and says, I'm gonna save you from this army of invading demons. And he does it. Would the normal person who doesn't know the story not follow that guy? I probably would. This guy saved me from all the demons. Yeah, I hear he works with demons too, but probably just because he's kicked so much demon ass that the demons would rather fight with him than be killed. That would be what I'm looking at it as. And look at that. We've been seeing these things terrorize us for so many pages, and then to see them just marching here with people is kind of a head trip. But man, this demon god is something else, because he's so big. These are the giant monsters we've seen before, and they're little specks underneath his foot. But he's completely lost himself. This creature is just kind of mindless at this point, and if at all possible, you feel bad for the demon Cushion King, but you really don't, because they're all bad guys here. There's no one to root for. You're just rooting against everybody. But this page with Nosferatu, Zod, and Griffith is just so cool, and this next one here. Well, not the next one, but we're coming up to it. This one's cool too, though, where we see them getting closer and closer to the top of this giant, demonic, otherworldly god creation. Right here. We're right at the top in the center, and that's kind of where he is and what's left of him. There's not much man. And then we get one chapter, which is just a bit of a flashback, giving us an origin story for how this guy ended up getting a Bailet and making a sacrifice and becoming a demon in the first place. But I kind of wish we saw this earlier, perhaps in the previous book, which is many chapters ago, just because I felt it's a little too late to be humanizing the guy, especially right at the very end when he's lost all sense of ego. But I guess it's more like his life flashing before his eyes at the very end, when we see him dissipate. And it's really tragic, because he only became this monstrosity because when he got in proximity with Griffith, he realized that Griffith was so strong that he could not worship him. So he tried to become something that would be beyond that. But then he loses his ego, and all he can do is want that light of Griffith, because it's the only thing left, and he sees it. So he's grasping towards it. And we're at that, what do they call it? Like the Intrasice, I think it was, the magical realm. The world's kind of split between the magic and reality, and we're at the very top of him. And it's kind of bleeding through, and so he's seeing Griffith, but he's seeing Griffith as Femto, the God Hand member, which is pretty cool and spooky. And I bookmarked this page because I wanted to make sure I got to it to show you. So cool, because right here we're seeing it. Do you remember that thing? That's the Balet sword, the Skull Knight, and there's reality being cut. Boom! This is such a cool page. Nosferatu Zod, Femto, Skull Knight. I love that dude. Such a good design. I love his coat of arms. I love the thorns coming off around his head and the little thorns on his skull. It's just such a cool armor. It's so heavy metal. It is. It reminds me of a heavy metal album I just have never discovered. It calls out to me in the way everything did when I was 13. I'm just like, yeah, it's so cool. And this is so great because he's just going for it. He's going to attack this son of a gun. We don't know his deal yet still. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I just know I love him. It's kind of got that same thing going on with old school Wolverine, where you just don't know what's going on with the fella, so it makes you interested in him a bit more. But at this point, I think it's pretty heavily implied that he was like the ancient old king of the previous civilization, or whatever. At least that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But what a cool design. I love it. And I love that he has history with that old witch in the middle of the forest that lived in that tree. I thought that was a cool revelation. But yeah, this fight is so awesome right here. I love how ferocious this guy is. Like, such a cool creature. I love that demon. But we got our fella here, Skull Knight. He's trying to kill Femto here and cutting at him. But he just says that this is causality brought to fruition, which is no good, really, because like he just grabs the slices of reality and he like brings it up to the actual creature that we're at here, who's been twice now incarnated using a Balet. The second one was an artificial Balet, but still, it's what turned him into this giant monstrosity that was a creature poured from the depths of hell. And it's slicing through reality. This guy came from the depths of hell, so it just seems like we've opened up a giant hole to the depths of hell, at least as far as I'm reading it. And this is cool because it just splits open and kind of destroys the beast. So in a way, Skull Knight helped Griffith kill this giant demonic entity and establish himself as the emperor on this earth here. So that's no good. I bet Skull Knight doesn't feel good about that, him wanting to like kill the God Hand and all. But you know, earlier in I think it was the volume previous, they said you know, to stand up against Griffith would be a character in a story fighting back against the author of the book. You know, so he's outside of reality. But then again, we've also found out that Skull Knight lives outside of reality. So make of that what you will. So do our main characters, in fact, because they've already been branded and they're sacrificed. So they're no longer in the equation. So maybe they will be able to affect the story. But that makes me wonder why Skull Knight was affected by the story if he's outside of it. I don't know. Guess I'm going to have to buy more chapters, but I like how this big wave of energy is warping the whole world, and when it hits Guts, we get this really cool double-page spread of just like all this happening. And then we see the world, and the energy is going forward and forward. And it's literally enveloping the world Reality has been cut apart and a new reality has formed. And in this reality, everything intersects. It's like that mystical realm we would see every now and again, but now it's for real. It's everywhere. These creatures live all at once. Unicorns, giant snakes that eat unicorns. I love that right there. This poor guy. Imagine what's going through his head. Oh, these cool harpies. I like that. They got a real spooky design there. This big old mean looking ogre thing. This sick dragon. This is such a good double page spread. Just a great medieval fantasy dragon. Just that's a perfect dragon. I love it so much. What color do you think that dragon is? It's all in black and white, so you know, is it whatever you want to imagine it, really. Leave a comment and tell me what color you think the dragon is. I'm curious. If you've actually listened to this and you got this far, please just comment and tell me what color dragon you think this is. I'm real curious what you think. I don't know. Could be black, it could be red, classic green, maybe like a pale white silver. I instinctively want to say it's like a light yellowish gold dragon with a yellow belly, but there's too dark for that, really, I think. Ooh, maybe it's like a nice blue, and the blue glistens in different colors depending on the light. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I'll tell you what I think. These little goblin motherfuckers, I do not like them. I remember them from a few volumes back. One of my favorite storylines, I loved when we got to the town and we met the witch in the woods and all that, and getting to meet Shriek. That was real fun, and I thought she added a lot to the party, but I do not like them. They are mean. Mean sons of bitches. But so much of this world is mean. But it's not all mean, because we're getting some good nice magic, too. Nice magic is real and fully a part of this world. And I love this. So this is the new world now. Mankind's Desire. Fantasia. I love this page. It's so beautiful. And this is our page where we see Griffith and him in this new world. And all these soaring, magnificent dragons. What a great page. But then we get to this page here. And this is real cool. We're seeing, this took me a second, but we're seeing the God Hand right now. And there's that one gal, the evil lady, and she's in her realm. And I remember when she first incarnated in them like troll entrails, she was talking about how the God Hand all spend their time in their own different realms. So I imagine this is her realm, and it looks like, this took me a second, but this whole thing seems to be a bunch of naked bodies, all kind of mushed and mashed together in sexual looking situations. And then we get to this page here where we see that other guy, and that's his face right there. It took me a second because I was looking at it from the uphand, and I'm like, what's all this supposed to be? But then I was like, okay, it's all this. But yeah, just made up of giant masses of rats and decomposing bodies. And just waves of him. And we can see him celebrating too. And then we see this little guy right there. He's a crazy fella. And all this madness going on in his world. This weird guy in the egg. This dude hung up with the arrow through his body. That guy in the basket. Like, there's so much weirdness going on here. Like, what's this dude? And then we get to this page, and it's just giant pulsating brain. So, I don't know, is he like the ego or intelligence? This is like madness or thought, death, decomposing. He's bodies. He's pestilence. Like what? So we had death. So is this like desire, sexuality, lust? They all embody some sort of evil aspect, but also not. Is it evil, or is it just aspects of humanity, and humanity can be evil? I don't know. Everything about the whole God hand and the fantasy is also abstract, and part of what makes it interesting is we don't know how it works, and it's mysterious. But this is a cool page where we see the demons and the humans in the army kind of being awed by this split in reality and the world being washed in this energy. And that half right there, I think, is the most interesting part of the book and what really hooked me. This next half of the book is about Guts and his team in the exact same time as what all this going on. And so here we have this holy city coming out of the ground and just forming in this light. And like, yeah, Griffith is bad news, I tell you what. You know, it's like a great Luciferian type of character, just the most beautiful, seductive creature ever, just coming down, swooping through, and like, look at that, Beauty and the Beast. This is the page I was talking about before where I was like, this is a double page spread we're coming to. But no, it was this one and the next page, especially the next page here, where we just see him up there pointing and commanding, like, this shining, glorious, beautiful star of a man. And he's promising the world. He's the Antichrist. He's born into this world, speaking sweet lies. He's going to save us all, but he's really bringing darkness. Like, I don't know how much of this was inspired by and brought by whatever source for the writer, author, Kento Omiro, was it? But, am I saying that right? Yeah. Kentaro Miura? I'm either saying that right or I'm not. Let me know. Comment and let me know what color dragon that was and how to say this dude's name right. But yeah, I have to imagine a good chunk of this was at least inspired by reading the Bible and at least Christian Catholic ideas of cosmology and just the lore, as it were, in Christianity. But yeah, this is the part that's much less interesting to me. We're done with all this fantastic politics and the giant demon war with all this beautiful artwork. Like, the artwork stays beautiful, but we're not seeing this pretty son of a gun anymore, and we're not seeing any of this brutal, gross, awful killer army and mystical stuff. We're now going to be in the land of pirates. I like pirates. This guy's fun. I remember him from before. It's good stuff, and I'm glad to be catching up with Guts and crew, but I was just so engaged with the politics of what's going on in the lands and what actually happens with the demons and the giant fight that was going on. Like, I want to know what happens to the Midland army and everybody after that giant god's been taken out. Like, what's going to happen? What is the new world now? But I'm going to have to wait to read the new volume, so I got to pick that up. But right now, we're just following Guts and his ship, and we're getting in some cool naval battles, which is dope. I like it. It's pretty sick, and we meet these crazy tentacle monsters that come out of the ocean, but it's just not as engaging in the politics. Yeah, that's so cool, though. Swinging that big ass sword. just chopping things in half. So we're fighting the pirates and this demon ghost ship, but we get some battle damage, so we got to stop off at this island here. And that's where we meet this girl who we saw on those posters there. She's a, I guess, temporary party member in our Berserk RPG. She leaves at the end of the volume, and I'm not sure if we see her later in further books, because this is as far as I've read up to. But I very much enjoyed her. I thought she was a good balance to Isidro. I really like him a lot. He's fun, and she plays off of him well. And yeah, I love Puck. There's some good comedy. That's why I like him, because he's got a lot of good spunk and energy. But he also plays well off of Puck, and we always get some good comedy when Puck's concerned. But she's a fun new character. Our team goes off onto this island, and we discover that most of the inhabitants, really all except for her, have been kind of possessed and become these demon creatures, these little tentacle things that we saw in the ocean. And it turns out this giant sea god lives inside of the island. So Guts don't even wait for a thing. As soon as one of them looks a little bit demonic, he just throws a knife in their head and he gets to fighting, which is why we love Guts so much. One of the reasons. He's actually a really deep, interesting character, and I find him so fascinating. There's a lot more going on to him than you would think, especially if you only read the first volume. But you get so much more to him as you go further on, and you get his backstory and see all the things he goes through. Yeah. Real fun story. Cool monsters. But this second half, this bit right here, just not as engaging as all the politics and the giant army. This is a side quest. I'm in an RPG right now, and I just took a break from the main story, and I'm going off to explore this island here, and I'm just gonna finish off this side quest, and then that's what this feels like. I don't want to say it's filler, but it's not really the bulk of the main story. It's just kind of bump along the road of what's going on. But the end of this story here, they fight this giant sea monster. And this girl here, the new girl we meet. Well, okay, so I guess I'm skipping over this. But we end up meeting this little glowing energy thing that brings Guts back from the edge while he's in his Berserker armor. And when he comes to, he realizes that there's a new person here, and Casca's grabbing this naked little boy who we met on the beach in a previous volume. And he showed up at a full moon just like this time too. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but I'm thinking that this is their son, their child that they've seen previously. It used to be the deformed fetus creature that would show up at a full moon and always follow Guts. But then it sort of disappeared after that living Balit creature ate it before kind of reincarnated Griffith. I don't remember what volume that is, but when that happened, when the fake eclipse happened, we stopped seeing that guy. So I'm thinking that this is this is their unborn son respawned, so to say, after the whole situation with the rebirthing of the Earth. Not sure. I need to read more, but that's my best guess. Sort of like, I feel like Skull Knight is the previous king of the Lost Age Empire, the Buried City and all that. Just little hints, things they say, but I don't really know. What I do know is the artwork in this book is just so good. is another beautiful double page spread. And you know, we just got a few little boxes here. We got this beautiful boat, and then these astral figures of these ladies floating, and it just looks so cool. Like, even the boring pages of just heads talking looks beautiful. This guy's a fantastic artist. And I love how magic is portrayed in this too. And that's another cool thing, is all the mystical elements of it just kind of unfold, but we don't know what we know except what we learn along the way. So, you know, you're left guessing. This creature of darkness, though, ooh, it is scary. So we get on this island. Guts ends up fighting this giant monster creature here, and the pirate guy, I guess, is acting as sort of a living avatar for it. The thing eats people, and the people end up becoming a tiny little bit of its essence, and this pirate dude's essence, I guess, was strong enough that him and his pirate crew are still going. I don't really understand why, but it's fun. It gives this giant monster a little bit of an entity to have character, because it is kind of like a Lovecraftian beast. It's beyond understanding. But Guts don't care. His plan is to jump in its mouth and kill it from the inside, because you can't really do much to it from the outside. And Shriek, she's just kind of hanging on to his back in spirit form to try and pull him out when he's being overwhelmed by the berserker energy. But yeah, real cool. Jumping inside the monster, fighting all the creatures inside of the monster that are acting like it's, I don't know, defense mechanisms inside of the body. Our dudes are having a big battle up top, and they're fighting the monster and its tentacle creatures from the outside, while Guts fights it from within. Pretty cool. These little spider monsters creep me the hell out. I do not like spiders and any of that sort of thing. These little spike tentacles, creepy. I love this right here. Cedrio, he's going at it, and he's taking the pirate captain out again, even though he's just a tentacle creature thing. So yeah, I love that. I can see some people not liking this pirate dude, but I think it gives a little bit of comedy and some good energy throughout. And this series has a good way of being able to break up the real dark nastiness with a little bit of humor and light energy, kind of the yin-yang balance of it all. But it also, like, if the whole thing was dark and dreary, you couldn't get through it. You wouldn't want to. But the lightness makes you want to push through the dark. So Guts is going to stab the heart of this creature from the inside, and that pisses it off, so the whole island breaks apart, revealing that it is the monster. All these giant oceany creature monsters start attacking Guts from the inside of the beast. And Cedrio gets knocked out of the boat from a giant wave. The new party member jumps into the water to save him from drowning and being eaten by the creatures. And when she does, she's spoken to by some aquatic spirits telling her to say her true name. And then she transforms into a mermaid because her dad banged a mermaid. And this is a great bit of story right here where she pops up, she saves him, and it's real beautiful right here. I love this, and I love how happy she is too. She plays off him so well. I really hope she shows back up in a further volume. She leaves at the end of this book here. But I love this, how she's so excited, telling him she just had to say her true name. And then the fairy right here flies in, saying, "Listen, don't you dare tell anyone your true name, because that has magical powers." And it's just real funny, because like she don't care, but hey, I wouldn't really mind if you guys knew it. Because she's just totally innocent. I love it. And I love how this fella, too. I haven't talked about him at all in this volume, but this is one of the nobles that we've met in the previous volume. And he's like, wait, I want to hear more of that. Because he's all about finding a way to gain advantage. He wants to... he just wants to... make some good money, and he sees that as any advantage. He'll take it. But this is cool. We see all the aquatic creatures, the mermaids, swimming about. And she mentioned previously how the mermaids were the ancient enemy of this ocean god. And so these mermaids are showing up to fight the god now that he's fully appeared. And that's pretty much where this volume ends. Is Guts is inside of this creature, tearing it apart, cutting it away bit by bit from the inside. She jumps out of the boat to go aid her mermaid companions in stopping this evil ocean god. And here we are in the boat, flying right towards it. And that's the end of this volume here. We get some cool full color pieces of cover art for each of the different volumes. Here's 34, 35, and 36. I think that one's by far my favorite, just because it's got that dope Nosferatu Zod and that really spooky femto. But yeah, I really want to see what happens to the rest of our crew, and I want to find out what happens with the main politics of the kingdom, and what happens to the world now that magic is infused everywhere, and that all these demonic creatures just span and live in this world. A lot of great artwork, though. That's the main thing that hooks me for the series. And the deep, rich characters and plot just have hooked me along the way. But just that fast-paced, brutal, kick-ass, heavy metal violence vibe. I love it. It's so cool. I wish I had discovered this and read this when I was in my teens and 20s, because that would have just blown me away. That was totally 100% my energy back then. Now I feel like reading too much of this all at once, especially because I always want to read through more than one of these, because I just like I just eat them up like one of them Pringle cans, you know. Once you pop, you can't stop. And then I get that much negative energy, and I feel like maybe I'm just an old man now, but I feel the weight on my soul a little bit from it. Back when I was younger, I think I could have absorbed more of the brutal, nasty aspects of it without the energy really taking a toll on me, but that's kind of silly. I don't know. But I do know the artwork is sick, and I love this so much. And I hope you had fun leafing through this with me and checking this book out. And if any of it sounded interesting or looked interesting and you got no idea what's up with this, well, I'm surprised you went through all that with me. But I hope it inspired you to check it out for yourself. And I think I'm going to go do some rereading of the full series as it is, because this just makes me want to pour through it all over again. And I'm really excited to read that next volume, so maybe that can tide me over. But in the meantime, I got a few other books I'm in the middle of too. I'm reading through about 3 big thick things right now, but I just felt so inspired to want to read this, and it had been sitting on my shelf for so long, and I felt like I'd been patient. So hopefully I pick up volume 13 sort of soonish, so I can buzz through that as well. But if not, maybe I'll just start through the series from the beginning. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me, and yeah, I had fun. That's what it's all about. You can have fun too with me if you like.